I love these events. They're absolutely fantastic. They work on many levels for me. It is seeing the films. That's great. It's always a bonus. So I'm able to get a heads up on some of the great films that are coming out. But it also allows me to meet some really, really interesting people.
Especially, it's a good highlight for British films, which I think tend to, even here in London and the UK, get lost in the shuffle of the big Hollywood films.
It's an absolutely invaluable resource, to be honest. I mean, I've gone through, I think I did 15 hours of films yesterday, 15 hours the day before that. I think we were 8 or 9 the day before that. By the time we get through today, we'll have had another 9 hours of film.
The quality of the press conferences is always really, really good. And you can see how much the studios are and the distributors are invested in the process, which is great, because it always helps to get extra context and extra understanding.
I'm traditionally a newspaper journalist. I started in newspapers in Australia and I've been working in newspapers and magazines. I've been in the UK now for 10 years and for the past 6 years I worked at The Guardian. But in my time at The Guardian I joined that as a newspaper journalist, and when I left The Guardian I was an online journalist.
There's been a massive sort of revolution in digital in the last 5-10 years or so. But I think print is still important, and they are those voices that people still repeatedly, regularly go to. I think there is a shift that blogs are becoming more dependable, but again it's sort of key figures that stand out.
We know that as a print journalist we need to do stuff for online, or it's going to end up online anyway, because most magazines now have their own online sites and they use the content from the print version and vice versa really, so I think it has to coexist. I don't feel any kind of rivalry at all anymore.
In some ways it's regrettable. I can see that the professionalisation of critics is sometimes felt to be in danger, but I think it's also really useful to have so many different kinds of voices who've got outlets now which they never did have before.
Be focused, know what you actually want to be, and have a kind of like a 3 or 4 year plan to get there.
Start training yourself in terms of watching as many films as possible.
Getting as much practical experience as you can.
Making as many contacts as you can as early as possible.
I started off on a very small blog and kind of put myself out there, and I like to think I've kind of got on with people quite well, and that has completely helped me throughout my career.
I have one golden rule, and that's always to think of the character as someone utterly separate and not me.
I think that period cinema, if it works well, should have a message for a contemporary audience. So the entire script was set up as a series of overtaking manoeuvres until they actually physically came side by side.
And really that's what the story of the film is about him finding his voice.
To see these two worlds combine, collide more or less, animation and love of aviation, I feel, extremely fortunate.
I didn't really want to see the action taking place in kind of a movie landscape. I wanted to feel what it was like, and to that degree, we shot the action sequences and the chase through Tokyo on the streets of Tokyo.
Filipinos could see and watch and really identify with it, and and embrace it as a Filipino film as much as a British film.
think it's a really exciting summer and the crowded schedule. It feels like there's something big coming out every week.